Palace Eagle. In 1976, the charismatic Malcolm Allison led 3rd Division Crystal Palace to the semi-finals. But along with coach Terry Venables, their Wembley dreams were extinguished by a Southampton side that went on to beat Manchester United. The star of the show in their only final was Ian Wright. Just back from a broken leg, he scored twice. But Manchester United pegged them back to 3-3 and went on to win the replay. Perhaps this year, Palace can put the record straight. Well, that's a big if, but Glenn Hoddle, it's Arsenal historically, it's Arsenal on current form.
Very much so. Yeah, they're in a great...
obviously 5 internationals missing, but fair old side still.
Yeah, they've got a lot of players out, but they'll have a nice balance. They'll play their normal back four, which Arsenal has gone for. It's good to see young Stephen Hughes and Petty in there. I think that would be the hub of Arsenal's performance with Parlour, and obviously with Bergkamp. Bergkamp in the last third is a danger, but the player that's really come into a little bit of good goal-scoring form is Overmars.
Yes.
He's been scoring goals now, and I think his confidence is up.
And Palace, Barry?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame that Andy Linnigan's not in the lineup. He's obviously an old Arsenal favourite, done very well for Palace since he's been there, and he did score in the FA Cup for them. But yeah, they're up against it. They've got a lot of forwards out today. They've got 4, 5, 6 forwards out today, some of the big boys, so the goal scoring is not too good.
OK, well, now let's check on the ties that have already been played this weekend. Tony Francis takes us through the 5th round story so far, beginning with a piece of history for Coventry City at Villa Park.
It's like 1987 revisited. Coventry have seldom looked fluent since their cup-winning year, but they do now. What a snip George Boateng was from Feyenoord. And what a problem this chap could be in England's group. Moldovan, the best striker in Romania. It was Coventry's only win at Villa Park this millennium. I doubt that anyone will fancy meeting the winners of this contest in the next round. And I doubt that many defenders will relish the thought
of Arsenal against Crystal Palace. Kick-off here at Highbury is at 2 o'clock. Now, Steve Coppell's playing career, including 42 England caps, was an unqualified success. But as a manager, well, there have been a few ups and downs, as Clive Tilsley reports.
Steve Coppell has never been far away from Wembley. 4 times he played there in major cup finals for Manchester United, lifting the FA Cup in 1977. 20 of his England caps were won at headquarters, and in more than a decade as the manager of Crystal Palace, he's led them to within minutes of cup success, then just last year led them back into the Premiership via the playoffs. It's in his blood.
I love the bones of football, the football management. I really do enjoy, you know, coming in on a daily basis and training with the players and, you know, trying to formulate ways of beating the opposition.
Just lately, the opposition have had a head start. Coppell's major Italian signings, Padovano and Lombardo, among several injured players. It's a dozen league games since Palace won.
We've lacked the inventiveness, the firepower we had early on in the season. And I think that is specifically down to personnel not being available, but it's been a struggle the last 2 months.
How's the job of management changed since 1984 when you first took it up with Palace?
It is a lot different. In the sort of lower reaches of the 2nd division as was then. You know, it was a steep learning curve for me, but because it was a little bit of a backwater, you know, you could make mistakes and get away with it. Now, when you make a mistake, then it's focused on, it's highlighted, and people remind you all too readily.
Everyone remembers the one job Coppell has ever left Palace for. Last season, he became manager of Manchester City for 32 days.
I have asked Francis Lee to relieve me of my obligation to manage the club on medical advice.
I knew that wasn't right very quickly, and even now I still maintain the right decision for all concerned. But, you know, I'm not a lemming coming back to Crystal Palace so I can jump over the edge of a cliff at some stage. You know, I think football management's precarious enough. You know, it would be nice to have the comfort, I suppose, of a contract, but I don't have one, so... You know, I'm faced with the reality that any moment somebody else could come in. But it doesn't worry me, because I think I'm not bad at my job.
Even in the absence through injury of Coppell's former Palace protégé, Ian Wright, Arsenal are a team brimful of star quality.
My father gave me a choice. A pair of Reebok football boots or a new train set. I've never regretted taking the train set.
Unbeaten since Christmas, Arsenal are at concert pitch for 2 classic cup ties this week. And doesn't Steve Coppell just know it?
If they play well, they win. I think that's guaranteed. They have individuals, Overmars, Wright, Bergkamp, you know, Parler, who's had a terrific season. You look at their individuals, and if they play well, they win the game. So, number one priority for the defensive side of your side, you've got to stop them from playing. And then, when you get the ball yourself, you've got to try and be constructive as much as they will let you.
Steve Coppell says, Arsene, that if Arsenal play well today, they win. You wouldn't disagree with that, would you?
No, I wouldn't disagree with that, but the problem is to play well. And I think the problem as well is that Crystal Palace has nothing to lose. They come here, they are relaxed, they have a good away team because they had maybe the best record in England away. It's a London derby, it's a cup game that shows you how tough the game will be. So for me, I'm prepared for a very tough game. Of course we want to win it, but I think it will be very, very hard for us.
You're heavily involved in all 3 domestic English competitions. What have you been focusing your players' minds on today?
I think when you're a player, and if you are a player in a big club, you just have to have a winning mentality, and that's just means try to win every game. I have no respect for people who calculate. I think when you want to be a winner, you have just to play well the next game and try to win it, no matter which competition it is. And even if we played at the beginning of the season in the Coca-Cola Cup some what people called weaker teams, for me it was always only to try to win it. If you are at Arsenal and you go in every game, you have to try to win it.
Arsene Wenger and Steve Coppell, 2 managers under different types of pressure, gentlemen.
Well, Steve Coppell's under pressure, isn't he? He's right at the bottom of the table. The team can't win a game at home. The record away from home's not bad, but lately the record's very poor, and this is a big game for them. If they lose in this game today, then they've got a 3-month battle against relegation, unfortunately.
13 games, though, Barry, in that 3 months.
It's a long game.
Yeah, yeah. Arsene, Glenn, I mean, I'm fair to say that really he's your mentor. You wouldn't be a coach now without him, would you?
No, definitely not. He saw something in me that I didn't see in myself when I was playing for Monaco, to be quite frank. But no, I mean, the pressures are still there for Arsenal, exactly the same as Steve Coppell, for different reasons. I mean, just over 2 months ago, Arsenal went, I think, 3 in 4 games they lost. And the pressure was really on, and there was a lot of people outside Highbury doubting Arsene and his ability. Now, 2 months down the line, they're unbeaten. They're going for 3 trophies, possibly. Now, all of a sudden, it shows you how it swings round very quickly, and there's still a lot to play for this season for Arsenal, and I'm hoping that they can win something this year.
OK, well, we've heard the thoughts of the 2 managers, but what do the fans think? Well, Arsenal against Crystal Palace kicks off in a few minutes here on ITV's Big Match.
It's going to be a tough one, and Nicholas Anelka's been improving, I think, as the games have been going on, but he hasn't got that final touch that Wright has, so I think we're going to miss him.
It's obviously a back-to-the-wall job, I think, with the limited forwards up front, but, you know, they could give him a good run.
I think Bergkamp will get a hat-trick.
Paid a fortune for the tickets, 50 quid. So
we better win then.
We better win, yeah.
Well, I think we're going to beat them about 4-0 today. Anelka hat-trick.
Come on!
Yeah.
Hello again from Highbury, where we're just 3 or 4 minutes away from kick-off here. The teams are in that famous tunnel, and there, well, you can see them there. They're just on their way down onto the pitch. Arsenal and Crystal Palace, and they're being greeted by the crowd right now. Glenn Hoddle and Barry Venison are with me in the studio. And Glenn, Steve Coppell's attitude, really, he said if we're going to lose, we may as well lose big time.
Yeah, I think he's obviously going to come here with a little bit of philosophy of stop Arsenal, and that's why I think they'll man-for-man mark possibly Bergkamp. It's worked for him before, but I think Bergkamp's been fantastic this season and last. I think he's the difference sometimes between Arsenal getting the result and not getting the result. But it's interesting today if he is man-for-man marked, because he didn't do so well in Milan when he was tightly marked, and he doesn't like man-for-man marking. So I'm very, very interested in today's performance to see if it gets to him that he's being marked very tight.
OK, well, Barry, if Glenn is going for Dennis Bergkamp for Arsenal, who can you pick out for us?
Well, I think midfield is the key area, and Crystal Palace have really got to get stuck in it. But the man who can unlock the Arsenal defence is Bruce Dyer. He is very pacey, strong, and he suits the counter-attacking style that have done so well for Crystal Palace so far this season. He's got a good shot, he's got a good record. I think he scored 5 in the last 7 games, scored a hat-trick in the last round. This is the man who can cause them problems.
Are you going for Arsenal, Barry?
I'm going for Arsenal, yes.
Glenn?
Arsenal win.
Yeah, I'm going for Arsenal.
OK, well, the teams are just about set, and so too is our commentary team, Ron Atkinson and Brian Moore.
Thank you, Bob. Let me just give you the check on the teams, starting with Arsenal, without Tony Adams suspended, of course, and Martin Keown, Ian Wright, David Seaman all injured, and Patrick Vieira recovering only enough to get onto the bench. But with a squad like Arsenal's, those problems seem to be fairly easily solved. The only change today is that Lee Dixon comes back into the right-back position and Gio Cremondi replaces Adams in defence. Otherwise, it's the team that's on an irresistible roll.
Yeah, familiar lineup for the Arsenal in terms of team pattern. I think Bergkamp will play slightly behind Anelka, which is normal. If he's going to get man-to-man marks, you could possibly see him dropping in the deep and letting Hughes go beyond him.
Well, Palace's absentees that include the 2 Italians, Lombardo and Padovano, top scorer Neil Shipley, the big signing Paul Warhurst. Absence is not so easy to hide. What is surprising, though, is that the former Arsenal favourite Andy Linnigan has to be dropped from the defence and has to be satisfied with a place on the subs bench. Jamie Fullerton returns to the midfield after suspension, and Simon Roger after a hamstring injury.
I would guess that's tactical, because I notice Edworthy will probably play in between Ismail and Haridason. Now, whether Edworthy's going to step out and try and get hold of Bergkamp, or whether Haridason might get that responsibility, I think that's tactical. But certainly looking at that formation, it will be one that is set up to contain Arsenal.
Our referee today, Martin Bodenham from Ferring in Sussex. Actually, the Premiership's most lenient referee yet to issue a red card this season. Subs, as you can see, Vieira and David Platt amongst the Arsenal subs, and Linnigan, and David Tuttle, the defender who broke a leg in October and hasn't played since then, amongst the Palace subs today. Good to see him back. Well, it certainly looks good for Arsenal, unbeaten in their last 10, of which 6 were won. Palace struggling, of course, in the bottom 3 in the Premiership. They've lost 4 out of the last 5. Bookmakers here make Arsenal 15-8 on to win today. But when did logic ever really play a part in the FA Cup? Certainly you can be sure that Arsene Wenger of Arsenal will have said complacency must be no part of Arsenal's game this afternoon. Winterburn up there early on. Palace in the change strip of yellow, getting up to Brolin. Petit. And Anelka, and the corner conceded there by Mark Edworthy. Bergkamp will take it. Raimondi is into the 6-yard area now. Important moments this for Palace. And it goes for the goal kick. I suppose Palace will find some consolation from their impressive away record. They've already won this season, remember, at Everton, at Leeds, at Wimbledon, at Sheffield Wednesday and at Tottenham. It is their dreadful home record in the Premiership, where they've yet to win, that have got them into so much trouble. Here's their goalkeeper, Kevin Miller, Cornishman. Good jump there by Dyer, or rather by Gordon, and it'll be a throw to Crystal Palace. Here's Dyer, bold at his heels. Brilliant, swift challenge by Parler. What a season he's having. Dean Gordon, longest serving Palace player now. Oh, he's played nicely there. Cremondi gets the ball away. Simon Roger had combined really quite well there with Gordon.
At the moment, Brian, there's no obvious man marker with Bergkamp, but Ismail's taking him now, and Horidison's pushing in against Anelka. But it looks as if Ed are trying to occupy a very, very sort of central player at the back.
Ismail with a header there, only playing his 4th game since his arrival from Strasbourg. Brolin. Fullerton beaten by Petit. And here is Edworthy getting it back to goalkeeper Miller.
But you just saw a little glimpse of Bergkamp there. When people don't man-to-man mark him, he'll drop off into that little space, invariably turns round and looks forward with his next ball. I think there's a big responsibility on either of those sort of markers that Palace have got to go in and try and box him in and don't let him turn round.
Ismail taking the safe way out, but a throw to Arsenal. 6 times winners of the FA Cup. Anelka. To Lee Dixon. Dixon, like Winterburn and Bold, have just signed extension, 1-year contract to keep them at Arsenal. All 3 of them well into their 30s now, but Dixon full of life and fire as he scampers down that right touchline, and also some good work by Edworthy. Covered that well. Gordon up towards Brolin. Bala. Glorious afternoon in North London. Winterburn keeping that in play, and a very good challenge indeed there.
I think that's going to be one of the key factors this afternoon, Brian. Jamie Smith and Mark Overmars. Jamie Smith, Palace would look to get a lot of width from him, but I think he's going to find himself occupied a lot, just having to look after Overmars in a defensive sort of situation. I think that could have a big bearing on who makes the most attacks, whether Smith can push himself forward and ignore Overmars, or whether he just says, hey, that's my responsibility today.
Winterburn's throw for Arsenal. Overmars. Again Overmars. Little touch by Bergkamp, and Alka couldn't quite get on the end of it. Again Edworthy doing very well at the back for Palace. Bruce Dyer. Smith getting there first. Roger. Now Gordon. He's got a good left foot on him, and the flag is up. Dean Gordon putting that ball in. If you can name me somebody who's got a more vicious left foot shot than Dean Gordon, then I've not seen it. But that was a curling cross, but unfortunately for Palace, Dyer had just gone that little bit offside.
It was actually a beautiful cross, wasn't it? That's the sort of cross strikers normally love. Nice curling one into the space for them to go onto.
Edworthy having plenty of work early on. Dyer knocking it wide for Smith. Here's Edworthy again. Getting it back to Miller. Hit long and only Brolin's up. Grimondi's header for Arsenal. Fullerton. Bit too far, even for Overmars. And there's Edworthy doing his job again. And people in the game saying that Overmars now looking much more like the Overmars of Ajax. Got over his injury problems. Really does look to be in splendid form. 10 goals this season.
That's a great return, isn't it, from a flank player? Particularly one that is essentially, you know, he does keep to the flanks. He's not one that sort of drifts in and plays spells alongside the striker.
Here's Winterburn, looking maybe to prompt him again. Indeed he does.
Well, Steve Coppell will be saying to most of his team, try and block them in, don't let them turn and look at us. We've talked about Bergkamp doing that. I certainly think that will be the instructions for Jamie Smith with Overmars. Not the sort of fella you can let drop off deep and have it and run at you with.
Petit, the long ball, Anelka chasing.
See, he's quick as well. Anelka's very, very lively.
18 years old still. But here come Arsenal again. And Bergkamp's shot charged down. Stephen Hughes. Dixon playing it for Parlour. Not been too much activity down this right flank yet. Dixon with the throw. Good cup tie atmosphere here at Highbury. Local derby. South London against North. Parlour. Curl in, and a safe, simple catch there for Kevin Miller. And not such a good ball released by him. Kevin Miller, who came from Watford, formerly with Birmingham and Exeter before that. Played every game this season. Ramondi to Bold. Parlour dropping that little bit deeper for a moment. Dixon. Ramondi. Parlour, good turn. Ramondi knew just what was going to happen, but so too did Dean Gordon.
But you saw an example there of the licence that Arsene Wenger gives his central defenders to come out with. Played it into Parlour, followed his pass and nearly got into a penetrating position.
Edworthy's rather clumsy clearance that time might be picked up here by Mark Overmars. Nigel Winterburn of Steve Bold. To Bergkamp. And Elka's alongside him. Support from Hughes. Overmars. Good work by the keeper.
That's the value of blistering pace, though, isn't it? Super little ball inside the fullback, and off goes Hughes on his. Off goes Overmars. There may be people that say he might have put that back. I don't think he could see the players who are in the box. He just tucks it inside, and a great little ball. And he's off. I think anything he was looking to cut back would probably been intercepted.
Certainly the first 10 minutes or so, very much what people expected, with Palace very much on the receiving end. Meninga in the Arsenal goal hasn't yet had anything at all to do.
Yeah, but I was just thinking, until then, you know, Arsenal hadn't made Miller work either, which is not bad when you're in the away team.
Roger, good left foot on him. This is Thryderson, a splendid player. They will never play. Dixon throw. And Elka's available. Bergkamp's there. So here's Dean Gordon. Bold for Arsenal. Plates in the last 8 at stake here this afternoon. Overmars. Raymond. Dixon. Certainly if Arsenal are eyeing 3 domestic titles, a replay against Palace wouldn't be one of the things that they'd be looking for. They'd be looking to finish this one off today. Here's Anelka. Powerful shot. A really good shot. But the keeper nicely behind it.
Yeah, that's a lad growing in confidence, though. He has this habit of coming back in on his right side. You thought he'd have got squeezed out, or somebody would have pressed the ball. The full marks for him getting his shot in. Powerful shot, but straight down the keeper's throat.
Yes, Hughes to Overmars. Bergkamp waiting in the middle. But again, he was crowded out at the expense of a corner. Ismail, the man who got the touch. And Bergkamp with another corner. Old and Gremondi going forward. Pettit another 6-footer in the box there. Hughes waiting, and Melka's in there. And Melka. So it's Parlour with a little touch. And the Palace players lining up to get that away. And suddenly it's 2 against 2. It's Brolin. and Dyer on the far side. I don't think he's going to make nearly enough ground. And Winterburn is there. Oh, Dyer's kept... No, the flag is up.
There might be a few old-timers brought up on Ted Drake, and they would have thought that was perfectly fair play from Drake.
41 goals in 147 games, scoring rate of 28%.
Certainly made up the ground there. I mean, that looked a little bit of a dying cause at one time, that particular ball, but he made it into his and was only just a bit unfortunate not keeping it in play, legitimately, that is.
Goes Bergkamp, flicked on by him. Anelka finds that Edworth is there to make the clearance for Crystal Palace. Bow lifting it again into the Palace half. Up goes Anelka again. And Edworthy allowing Miller to come out. Here's Gordon. Gordon with the throw. Thomas Brolin. Brolin again. Little touch there for Fullerton. Bold. And now Dixon. Bergkamp.
See that again, Brian. Receives and turns to go at them. I think that's where it's important. Your defensive marker gets right up behind him and stops him doing that. You don't mind Bergkamp knocking a ball back to somebody. It's when he turns and comes at you, your problems start.
Brolin claims that he was caught from behind there. But the play has gone on. The referee saw nothing wrong. Anelka trying to get Parler in. Brolin on his feet now. Edworthy to Haridason. Towards Brolin. He was at Palmer, of course. He played in that historic Cup Winners' Cup final against Arsenal at Copenhagen, '94, when Arsenal won it in such terrific style with Alan Smith's goal. Berlin played, Espria played, Zola played for Palmer on that occasion. Berlin, if I remember rightly, he hit the post very early on in the game as well. He was a long way from hitting the Arsenal post in the opening stages today. But there's the free kick, and Meninga, a safe, easy catch. A long clearance. And a Palace throw. Arsene Wenger, the Arsenal manager, on the bench there. And Elka. Hughes. Parler, oh, left it a bit light. Raimondi. And now Dixon. Raimondi, and Alka's made a run down the right-hand side, and Dixon, of all people, popped up in those central areas. Edworthy. Almost got caught out by Bergkamp. Smale playing it carefully, but playing it sensibly to Jamie Smith. Andy Roberts with the head of the Palace. And now Dyer. Jamie Smith with the throw. Gets the cross in, but Bold is there to block it out before it gets anywhere near Thomas Brolin. The best of clearances, though, but here's Pettit. Petit forcing his way through, but then beaten by sheer weight of numbers. Simon Roger taking it up now, and then in turn losing it to Gremondi. Finding Anelka. Charged down though by Dean Gordon. Claims that Anelka dived.
No, he cut across him, Brian.
There was definitely a contact there, and the referee absolutely right. Free kick to Arsenal.
It's a free kick. You know, I thought for a minute, particularly when you mentioned Martin Boddenham doesn't book or send many off. I know a lot of referees would have booked him there, but he's spot on, the referee there. Gordon couldn't help but tumble the player as he went across.
So Hughes and Bergkamp behind it. Anelka, Parler, Bold and Overmars are waiting. Dixon just standing off. Charged down by Bruce Dyer. Winterburn in a lot of space over on the left-hand side. Into Anelka. Palace holding on well at the moment. Ball in back to Edworthy. Hit long by him. Bold hitting it long. His target is Overmars. Once again, Jamie Smith sticking well to Overmars there. Came from Wolverhampton. It was a part of the deal that took Dougie Friedman to Molineux. Edworthy's good clearance. Well in. Suddenly Gordon up quickly, but the flag was up just fractionally offside against Bruce Dyer.
You know, that's twice, Brian, that Broleans had good possession, breaking at the Arsenal central defenders with a player either side of him, and he hasn't really measured his pass. I mean, the one before when Dyer had to go and chase Bold and give a free kick away, that particular time he had acres of space and loads of time to produce a goal.
Here's Bergkamp. That's going to be another corner.
Yeah, nowhere to go. Boxed in, take a corner. Played off the kid's legs, take a corner.
Which Anna Petit will take. Bold and Hughes, Parler, Anelka, Overmars at the near post. Plenty are up there. Needs a good delivery. But Palace were more than equal to it. Bergkamp playing it wide again, but it'll be a Palace throw.
That was a good header from the new boy Ismail. Good defensive header, and I was just wondering, he'll be enjoying this game a lot more than he did his previous match against Wimbledon. You know, 5 or 6 Frenchmen on the field, he'll feel more at home.
Yes.
I don't think he appreciated Wimbledon's barrage against him.
I don't think anybody in the Palace side that night did. I mean, there was a very poor Palace performance, and they knew it. And they knew just how much they had to improve to make any sort of impression here today.
But this is certainly more of a pattern game. This will be more of the sort of game he's been used to in the French league. Probably a slightly higher tempo, but
yes.
at least, you know, Arsenal trying to play, if you like, the Wenger way.
Talking about a high-tempo game, I guess your game against Liverpool must have been a pretty high-tempo game.
That was my octane about high tempo.
But what about this Michael Owen while we have a moment?
Well, I have to say, in fact, I made the quote yesterday. I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was that good. He was phenomenal.
3-3. Michael Owen hat-trick. And here's Parler. Oh, a lovely little touch there by Petit, but Bergkamp being hustled out of it, and hustled out of it very well indeed by Hreiderson. And Bold had to dig in there for Arsenal.
Because of the way they play, you know, Arsenal do take chances at the back, and all fairness to the two central defenders, Grimaldi and Bold, they do defend very well. But they're very often 2v2, and if there's a little bit more care taken in Palace breaks, if they don't get too excited when they break and just measure a pass in, it could give Arsenal a few problems on the counter-attack.
Here's the 20-year-old Austrian goalkeeper. And Ismail is up. And Bold, ever ready to bang that away with his head. And Edworthy getting it back to his keeper, Kevin Miller. Bold again. Dyer's after him. Bold caught badly in possession there. Roger did well. Dyer knocking it back. A little bit of confidence here now. Fullerton finding Gordon. This is better for Palace. And a good break there by Andy Roberts. And here's Bruce Dyer, but Dyer again caught offside. But that little movement will give Palace a little bit of confidence, because there was a lot of accuracy and a lot of composure about it as well.
Good football movement, this. And he was only marginal. Very, very marginal.
So Alex Menninger with the kick for Arsenal. David Seaman apparently still at least 2 or 3 weeks away from getting back to full fitness and into the Arsenal side again. So the youngster here is having a really good run. And the Arsenal players will tell you they cannot believe he's only 20 years old. Here's Gordon.
Which is 2 years older than Michael Owen.
Yes, exactly. and Anelka. And here is the 18-year-old Anelka. And look at this for pace. And he's got Parler outside him. And he's got Hughes inside him.
That was a glorious situation. That ball from Anelka should have been more accurate, but Hughes was a bit loose in his control.
Fullerton with his left foot finding Bruce Dyer. Good challenge by Grimaldi, and in fact gets the throw.
That's what they've done well today, Arsenal. They've left defenders to defend. The two central defenders have been 1v1 several times. They've gone to ground and won the ball. That's very, very important. You know, it means that the midfield players aren't constantly trying to come back and double bank. Dennis
Bergkamp. The pass goes to Andy Roberts, though. Back to Bergkamp again. Gordon challenging hard. Hit straight at the Palace captain, Andy Roberts. Now Simon Roger. Roberts again. A little too dainty there. Came off the referee. That was fortunate for Palace. Roger again, winkling something out with that left foot of his. But then Bergkamp with his left foot releases Overmars, and the crowd now getting behind Arsenal. And Anelka's made a terrific break for him too. And Winterburn down the left-hand side also. But it's Overmars who hits it wide, and options were open for him.
But Nigel Winterbottom is a fit lad, but at his age, I bet he appreciates sprinting 60 yards to support Overmars and then getting ignored. I tell you what, there's some slack marking from the Palace. The Palace central defenders went to sleep there and left Overmars in acres of space to pick that ball up and run at them. The shot was a bit tame at the end, but that was a glorious opportunity at first.
Yes, Winterburn had done everything there to make himself available, but it's a throw.
Sometimes you get those wide runners coming as, if you like, dummy runs. That was a dummy run, but it was the left full-back Winterburn that got dummied.
Here's Edworthy. Once at Plymouth Argyle. Came to our Palace as a right back, but they've played him sweeper. I saw him in midfield very effectively, actually, as good as anybody in the Palace side against Wimbledon the other night.
I think Palace's hopes of building up attacks come on this left-hand side, you know.
Yes.
Because basically, Ray Parler's playing a little bit narrow on this side of the field, which means Gordon has got acres of space to come into. Probably the first opponent he'll meet. Well, look at that.
Oh, look at the space here for Winterburn. And the little chip in towards Anelka, and banged away well by Haridason.
Well, that was a brilliant break, wasn't it?
trying to work out why he had so much space down there, Ron.
I think what had happened, well, let's see the corner
Let's
through.
have the corner first, then, which Bergkamp will take. Bold trying to get his head to it, and so was Petit.
I think what's probably happened, you know, Overmars has run Smith inside or run him off the space, and they've been so obsessed with Overmars that all of a sudden
Winterburn there.
Winterburn's been able to sort of make a long run around the back of people. But that's sometimes when you look for, say, your spare man to see things like that happening.
Well, here's Overmars again. He's come in from the touchline now.
And Winterburn's off on his run again.
Exactly.
And so is Dixon on this side. But all credit to them, Palace are falling into their defensive block holes and saying, come on, play in front of us. Having to be very, very patient, Arsenal.
Here's Nigel Winterburn again, into Overmars. As he's shaken off Edworthy. Well, he couldn't do it, but he got a free kick. Well, coming towards the half-hour mark, and Arsenal yet to find a breakthrough. Bergkamp behind this with Overmars. It's gone wide for the goal kick. Arsenal 6 times winners of the grand old FA Cup, last time back in '93. Andy Linnigan, who's on the subs bench for Palace today, scored the winner against Sheffield Wednesday. Palace have never won it. They got to the final in 1990, beaten there though. Bergkamp, Anelka, here we go. And Hughes in the middle. Oh, Palace done well here. Hughes still waiting for him. He pulled nicely away towards the far post for the little chip. And again, Palace were equal to it at the expense of a corner, but a good break for Arsenal.
A brilliant support run there by Parlour. He was a bit unfortunate. He may well have caught somebody's heels and got himself a penalty there.
Bold up from the back. Parlour's in there. And Hughes. And Anelka. And the keeper did well to get a fist to that. It was pretty crowded in there. Here's Mark Overmars. Turning to get a yard from Simon Roger. It's with Dennis Bergkamp. Long-range shot. Oh, it's gone all over the park. For a moment, it looked as though Steve Bold might get in there for his first goal of the season. After Bergkamp's raking shot had bounced out of Kevin Miller's arms. Dyer again. He's got space over here for Dean Gordon. He's got a lovely left foot on him. And the flag again was up for offside, I think this time against Thomas Brolin.
Yeah, they've got to be very careful. Here's that effort now. I mean, he's hit that. That's spinning and cutting. It's had an ugly little dip. Keeper won't be happy when he spills it, but full marks. Great second recovery. Great recovery. Although I think Big Baldy won't fancy himself as a Dennis Law or an Alan Clark in that respect. He'd sooner have big thumping headers, wouldn't he?
Seven clean sheets this season for Kevin Miller. Bergkamp, the little chip forward. Parlour who'd made the run for him, but it was Simon Roger, and now Fullerton, and now Ryderson. You're right, Ron. There's a far greater discipline about Palace in defence than there ever was against Wimbledon last Monday night.
I think there's a difference as well. Obviously, they were the home team in the league game. Well, say the home team, whatever that means at Selhurst Park. But there, they probably felt the onus was on them to make the match. Here, I think they feel quite happy to sit behind the game and come up on counter-attacks.
Brolin couldn't get to that one.
they're far more compact, aren't they? They've got people closer together, defenders and so forth. Whereas that game was a very stretched game, which is the way Wimbledon play, isn't it? They can get to one end of the field very, very quickly.
What about that for a little moment for Mark Edworthy then, eh? Just rounding Dennis Bergkamp. He was the last man, showed a bit of confidence growing there. Steyer on the far side. Could be possibilities here. There's no free kick, and the possibilities might now show themselves at the other end as Overmars goes into overdrive, but Edworthy, they say no foul. Well, there certainly wasn't a foul when Palace thought they should have had one at the other end.
And he picks up and goes, I think Edworthy does well to stay against him. That's not a foul. There's always going to be body contact when people are running alongside each other. I think Edworthy's done well to match Overmars there.
Free kick to Arsenal. Which Bowl will take. 11 minutes to the interval now. Dixon. Parlour. Anelka. Petty. Dixon. Bergkamp. So look how closely Edworthy was with him there. Parlour. Nobody here though. Oh my goodness. Manu Petit hit it. What, from 30 yards?
That would almost be the identical spot where Bergkamp's just hit his from. Rolls it into his back. A hard ball to hit that, you know, coming across your body. And he's hit that terrific. I mean, Palace will be happy if they can restrict Arsenal to long distance efforts like that, but they've also got to be aware that in the likes of Petit, the likes of Bergkamp, Arsenal have got people that can really rattle them.
Winterburn. Shoulder to shoulder there. Edworthy. Well, he's got away with that one. Came up at it for the throw. Took his bang as he did so.
I think he's telling his defenders to get rid of the thing quicker.
Went down there and he just, I think Anelka just caught him as he tried to elude him there.
Yeah.
He could be in a bit of trouble there. Thought I spotted some blood just now, actually. That's a wound that needs to be treated. Wonder, Ron, with Thomas Brolin. I mean, he's a great little prodder just behind attackers, whether they don't regret having to use him there as opposed to somebody just behind a front man.
Yeah, I think they'll be very happy, Arsenal, to see him there, because they know it's highly unlikely that Brolin can run them from the halfway line.
That's right.
And yet where he's disappointed today is when he has dropped off into those deep positions on the two occasions. He's had time, space, runners either side of him, and he hasn't really put in a ball as good as a player of his ability should do.
Well, Edworthy is off the pitch at the moment, getting treatment. Palace down to 10 men. Rogers' header, Fullerton's header, Brolin. And Arsenal still coming forward. And Hughes with a shot, which looked, I thought, as it cannoned off a Palace player, but apparently not, because it's a goal kick being given.
I think Ryderson, I think it was, has just done enough to put him off there. He may even have got a touch on it, but he certainly has made sure that Hughes doesn't get a good backswing.
But a goal kick was given.
All of a sudden, you talk about Bergkamp, you talk about Overmars and Elkan, whatever. Because of what he did last weekend, all of a sudden this young man's become very much a target for. Don't let him shoot from a distance.
Stephen Hughes, you're right. Signed a 5-year contract in the week. I'm sure Arsenal fans were delighted with that. Here's Steve Bold. Petty. Bergkamp. Challenge of Roberts beat him. Ryderson coming for this one. And he's the central defender, way forward. Manninger. As yet not a shot, seriously a shot to save. Here's Dean Gordon. Dixon.
See, they've got to be patient from there. There's no real space ahead of them, and Arsenal have been patient and moving around, trying to take up fresh positions and probe their way through.
Dyer just nicking it away. Roberts playing it through to him, but Dyer can't get past Steve Bold. And Bold finds some support in young Stephen Hughes.
I've read somewhere, I know, where the Arsenal manager, Arsene Wenger, thinks that the pitch, being a smaller pitch, one of the smallest pitches in the league, sort of cramps their style a bit. And I think it's in matches like this where the opposition set the stall out to say, hey, we're going to sit behind the ball, we're going to try and block little angles off and stop everything. And I think that's where he would appreciate, if you like, another 5 yards either side of the pitch. Well, because of Overmars, 10 yards on one side.
Exactly. Gramondi. And now Bold. Still goalless. Gramondi. And Elka. Good challenge. Ryderson. And Elka's after him and wins the ball back for Arsenal.
Talk about all the French influence in the side and all that, but watching the game against Chelsea, watching this today, some of the Arsenal habits of, if you like, recent yesteryear are still there, aren't they? The aggression, and it's from the established core, if you like, the people that have seen it and done it all.
Well, there's Edward. Sorry.
Just watching Dixon there and the way Winterburn will push himself in. And
just to remind you, Edworthy is back on the field now. Boom to the right side of his head. Here's Ray Parlour. Now Anelka. Bergkamp's waiting. Hughes is waiting. Parlour's available to him as well. There's the little chip. Oh, not what was required by Arsenal there.
Yeah, I think the lad got himself into a problem there, Anelka. Couldn't really see much to hit. I thought I'll just try and stick one into some sort of area.
Roberts playing it in, and the flag has stayed down, and Fullerton. And the referee is going to certainly show a yellow card to Manninger.
I think because of his reputation, Brian, you might be spot on, but I can think of about 7 out of 10 referees that would have him off for that.
Well, he still hasn't shown a red card this season. Manninger's got a yellow card.
I mean, that's a great run through there. And he's given the decision outside the box as well. So Arsenal, if you like, have had a double let-off. But that was a good run between the two defenders there. If the ball had been a bit straighter, you know, I think that would have been a stick-on chance.
Arsenal haven't got it away yet. Ishmael tried to make something. Now the break could be on for the Gunners. It's Parlour finding Bergkamp, and Elka's up there quickly as well. But look how quickly Palace are getting back. Still Anelka. Oh, he had his finger on the trigger. There it comes to Overmars, but the flag is offside.
But I think on that movement, you know, Overmars had a bit of a taste of his own medicine. Anelka completely ignored him when he was in a far better position. Look at him going around the back now, and that should have been a little slid ball down. But Anelka does favour always coming inside on his right foot. Definite, two of them offside. The little ball slid down the side from Overmars in the first place could have had Palace in even more trouble.
Edworthy. Offside against Brolin.
Which, Brian, would have been a major talking point, bearing in mind what had happened a second earlier.
Yes.
Palace had gone down 1-0.
Parlour. Bergkamp trying to get in there. Overmars might. Now Winterburn, time to tee it up. Still time to tee it up, and he hits it a bit too long. Dean Gordon will get this away. Dixon being forced back by Ryderson.
I'm just trying to work out at the moment where Ryderson's playing.
He's playing everywhere, isn't he?
I think he's got too much energy and feels it's wasted us being in the back line.
Omars. I must say that incident with Manninger, though, my feeling was that he was just outside the box, and no doubt we'll have a look at that at some later point.
I think he was, Brian.
Dixon.
Oof. That might be the closest yet, because I don't think the goalkeeper, Kevin Miller, is quite as nonchalant as he looks there.
And he hasn't scored this season either, Dixon. This was that incident at the other end.
It's a good ball through, and I mean, if the ball's straighter. Oh, it's in the box.
That's in the box.
It's in the box. He's taking him out of the box.
That's a penalty. That's a penalty. That's a penalty. And you're quite right, Ron. There are many referees who have said that's red card.
There'll also be a big issue now, because didn't Steve Bold have a similar sort of scenario about 2 weeks ago in the Chelsea game, or last week? Now we're seeing one now. There used to be an old tag lucky Arsenal, didn't they? Well, they did. They used to have 7 internationals and win every game. That's how lucky they were.
Yeah, Palace will feel a little aggrieved about that, though, with good reason. Gordon. Played in, bowled away. Edworthy returning it. Bold getting it back again to Anelka. Edworthy once more. Roberts. And again Edworthy. Up towards Dyer.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you take something positive out of that particular incident there, you know, if I was Steve now, and I know it's hard because you're probably thinking, what the hell's going on there? I think you should be saying, look, hey, when we played and put a few little passes in, you know, they're not invincible. We put a break to them quite comfortable.
You're saying that's what Steve Coppell should be saying to them at half-time?
I don't think he will be. I think he'll be having a pop at the...
Well, let's see what Overmars can do here. Now Hughes. Summing up the first half, Ron?
I think in their way, Palace came here with a game plan. I think they've done it very well. Arsenal, from their point of view, played some nice and neat and tidy, fairly high-tempo football, but have only on occasions found openings, which it's going to be very hard if people stick 9 men in their own half of the field.
Ryderson keeps it in play for Gordon. Ryderson again, bringing it away. Roberts picking it up by Simon Roger. And here's Anelka. He slipped the challenge. Beautiful. Just a little too slow getting that wide towards by Crystal Palace. But it remains for all that in this Littlewood-sponsored FA Cup 5th round tie. Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0. I would have thought as well. Can be something for us in this second half. Let's have a word with one of the Palace coaching staff, Steve Kember, with Gary Newborn.
Steve, you haven't had a shot on goal yet, but that looked a penalty.
Yeah, well, obviously we weren't too sure whether it was inside or outside the area.
The replay shows it's inside.
Well, if that's the case, it was a penalty, then obviously. But you know, he's made his decision and not giving it. So you know, we've got to carry on. Hopefully, keep doing what we've been doing so far.
Well, you're certainly defending better than you did against Wimbledon. What's your view on the first half?
Well, obviously we set our stall out to try and nullify certain of their players. Obviously they've got a lot of world-class players, and at the moment we're doing that. But I think we've got to perhaps second half express ourselves a little bit more and try and get forward more than what we're doing.
Thank you, Steve.
Highbury Stadium, home of Arsenal, where after 45 minutes of this FA Cup fifth round tie, it's Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0. And we have a real talking point for you, Glenn Hoddle and Barry Venison with me. First of all, just as expected early on, Glenn, it was all Arsenal.
Very much so. They've had plenty of possession. They found it very, very difficult to get round the back of Palace. I think Overmars has done it on one or two isolated occasions, but Palace will be very pleased with their first half performance. As a professional performance, it's not been a classic game, but I mean, for a cup tie, to possibly get a replay, they've put in Stevie Copp in there will be saying same again, lads.
Yeah, they'll be pleased with that, Barry, and they'll be disappointed that they aren't in fact one up, or at least a chance of having a penalty kick.
I would say so, yeah. The game plan's working. They're just trying to frustrate Arsenal. They're trying to catch them on the break. I mean, Brolin's been anonymous, to be fair, but Dye is the one who can catch them. And it was a great run from midfield for the penalty incident.
Yeah, penalty incident it is, absolutely. I mean, I don't think any of us have any doubt about this, have we?
Oh, it's the most blatant penalty I've seen all season. I mean, the goalkeeper's come out with too much pace. He's mistimed it. It's just, there's no need for him to come. It's inside the penalty area without any shadow of a doubt.
The thing here, he's gone away from the goal. We know that. It's definitely a penalty.
There.
Accept, it's definitely a penalty. There's no doubt about that. That's 100%. The reason why he didn't send him off is maybe because there was Arsenal players getting back in to stop the goal, but that is a definite pen.
In fact, Alex Manninger, I can just tell you, in the cup tie against Middlesbrough, he had a rush of blood in that, which in fact brought Borough back. This is a 20-year-old, and he's going to make silly mistakes, but he's very lucky there. We talked about Arsenal. I mean, there have been chances, but they've been long-range efforts in the main, except for probably this first one.
Yeah, they've been limited.
They have been, yes. I mean, this is a rare occasion that they've actually got round the back of Palace's defence. They've worked the ball, lovely run off the ball, super ball from Winterburn, and now his body shape, he was always going to shoot. Really, look at Dixon. If he could have cut it back with his left peg, but at the end of the day, his body shape, he was never going to be able to do that.
This is Dennis Bergkamp.
Yeah, too much room there. Too much room to set it up, and he's got a great shot, loads of power. The keeper fumbles a little bit, and if this is Ian Wright, that's a goal, because he sets off a yard quicker.
You mean instead of Sniffer Bold?
Yeah.
Now this is a terrific shot, Glenn.
Oh, it's a terrific effort. When it left its foot from where we were sitting, we thought it was in the, going to nestle in the top of the net, but it's cut across it. It's a very difficult technique when the ball's coming across you. But again, it's from it's from distance.
Yeah, I
Palace would be pleased with that.
All long shots, Barry, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. That's another one from Lee Dixon. This is the area 25, 30 yards out, and Palace will be happy with that. This was actually going in. If it's on target, that goes in. The keeper's rooted to the spot.
And Barry, they've got a game plan, obviously. Glenn touched upon it there. You know, they're coming to defend and looking for one chance or so.
Yeah, it is a bit of a gamble when you're up against the pace of Overmars and the creativity of Bergkamp, who's been pretty quiet anyway. But that's a connection that could unlock Palace.
Yeah, you say he's been quiet, Bergkamp, but I mean, you're still talking about Bergkamp's movement, Glenn.
His movement. If Anelka is playing with him and training with him every day, if he could just learn from his movement first. But Bergkamp, it doesn't matter how poor he's playing or how indifferent he's playing at the moment. He's still the player that can make the difference in the last third. And maybe, this is what Arsenal's going to be needing today.
OK, thank you. Well, now, England's footballers need to bounce back from their midweek defeat, and the same could be said, really, for England's rugby players after losing. Hello again, it's Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0 here at half-time. One big talking point, Alex Manninger, the Arsenal reserve keeper, bringing down Jamie Fullerton. Let's hear what Arsenal's first-team normal goalkeeper, David Seaman, has to think about it. He's with Gary Newbon.
David, did you have a clear view of that penalty?
Yeah, because I was behind the top goal, the clock end, one of the boxes there, and to be truthful, it did look like it was inside, but the referee hasn't given it, so there you go.
This referee hasn't sent anybody off this season. I mean, there is a case there where your goalkeeper could have been sent off. A lot of referees might have sent him off.
Maybe, but it wasn't really sending off offence. It was wide. The guy just touched the ball around him. I don't think. I think there'd be defenders covering and things like that. So, it was just one of them decisions that obviously it's gone our way and against Palace.
Well, you must be frustrated watching this. Can you just show what the state of play is? I mean, it looks pretty bad, your broken finger.
Not too bad. It's just there as a precaution, really, to stop me banging it and things. You don't realise how much they hurt until you get one that's broken.
How long have you got to go before you'll be back?
Hopefully about another 2 weeks. But, we're just taking it day by day and see how it feels and then start working.
Disappointing game this so far?
Yeah, but, that's what cup ties are like. It's tight and it's going to be like that. We only need one goal, don't we?
Well, let's just have a look at that incident again before we go into the second half here. Glenn, I mean, it is clear, everybody knows this. This is a penalty that should have been given.
100% penalty, Bob, without a doubt. But I think what Palace can't afford to do is come out at half-time feeling sorry for themselves and leaving themselves in a negative mind over the penalty. Well, we should be 1-0 up, we should have had a penalty. They're doing okay defensively, and they could get something out of this game.
Yeah, he'll be quite happy, Steve Coppell, won't he, Barry?
Yeah, he will be happy, but in general, player, they haven't really caused him too many problems, Arsenal. I'd like to see Dyer up the middle and take Brolin. Brolin, he can't hold the ball, he's not getting the game at all. Maybe if he gets a bit more space out wide, and Dyer is definitely going to be more of a threat with his pace to the two central defenders.
Yeah, OK, Arsenal, I mean, Arsene Wenger change it a little?
I think Arsenal's best chance of scoring is letting Palace at times come onto them and hit them on the counter-attack when it's open and there's a bit of space for Bergkamp and Overmars to use, because there are so many players behind the ball at the moment.
OK, back we go to Ron and Brian.
Thank you, Bob. Well, it's universally thought that should have been a penalty. David Seaman felt he shouldn't have been sent off, Ron.
I think that's a typical goalkeeper's self-preservation society.
It's 0-0. Lee Dixon with the throw for Arsenal. Size of elements once in the FA Cup, believe it or not, over all the years. Way back in 1934, Arsenal won that 7-0. I think there were some Arsenal fans coming here today thought they might get a repeat, but Palace have really fought well and deserved what they've got so far. A 0-0 situation, and looking a replay in the face in this second half. But they're offside here. Free kick to Arsenal. We just heard that Mark Edworthy had 4 stitches in a head wound at half-time. Well, he's been one of the successes in this Arsenal. There he is on the ball now. One of the successes, rather, in this Crystal Palace rearguard. Still Brolin playing very much a lone furrow up front there. Pretty frustrating for him, I would think. The ball coming to Bold again. To Overmars. Crowd responding to the ball getting to Overmars' feet. But so too did Bruce Dyer respond. Did really well there. But so's Overmars, really working to keep possession. Finds Winterburn into Hughes. Oh, and he's played a lovely ball for Overmars, but not quite lovely enough. Goal kick.
I think you see the reason there. Barry Venison was on about at half-time about Dyer should be through the middle, and I think if Steve Coppell had a full complement of players and he was going for the win now, I think he would find that's where he was. But I think because of his pace and his ability to track back and maybe double up on Overmars, whereas if, for instance, Brolin was out on this side, I think Brolin would be standing still a little bit.
Palace also, of course, without Matt Jansen, recently signed from Carlisle, and Marcus Bent from Brentford, both cup-tied.
I mean, if you look at the subs, I mean, Arsene Wenger's got several attacking options, but in all fairness to Stevie, he's got very little. He's got a young lad on the bench, Tony Fold, and apart from that, the rest are basically defensive players.
Here's Winterburn. Now Bold. Still Palace are hanging on in there.
He has got one alternative looking at that I've seen the lad Emblem play on the right-hand side of midfield, wide in a right position. He could maybe do that and help Jamie Smith with Overmars and put Dyer up front in that respect. But he'd be looking for Brolin to produce something. You know he's got talent in his locker. He's probably just looking for one flash. He's certainly not looking for Edworthy.
Exactly, doing that sort of thing. I would have thought that would give him palpitations, and it would me too.
Beckenbauer, yes.
Yeah.
Edworthy.
Yeah. Perhaps not. Now Kevin Miller at last with a chance of getting it away, and it goes into touch. Well, his composure was certainly there, and I'm not sure that it would be to the liking of all the Palace fans and management. Mark Edworthy. Roberts. There's Winterburn. Pettit just playing the ball in. Edworthy getting there. Bergkamp. Oh, he had 3 or 4 options in his mind there. And in the end, it's over Mars. And he's driven it into the side netting.
That's a chance. That's a chance wasted. They got the rub of the green there with the little ball that rolled into his path. And he should have been there. There's a bit of juggling. There's a little flip. Lovely little flip there, but it's out of his feet, and he should be shooting across the face of the goal there. That's a glorious chance. I must say, I probably didn't do Bergkamp enough credit there. At first I thought it was a lucky stumble, but it was some excellent footwork.
Gordon playing it in again. A stumble there. Berlin almost getting an error out of Grimondi. Berlin again. Chipping it in. Simon Roger there couldn't quite get onto that left foot. And it'll be a goal kick. So Palace full of heart but short of several players. And Steve Coppell knows well that one of his right-hand men, Ray Lewington, is also on the injured list. I'm sure he's watching this in hospital now. Ray went in a couple of weeks ago for a little knee operation. There have been 1 or 2 complications. He's had quite a few operations, in fact, in the last 9 or 10 days. But he's a cheerful character, and I hope he's soon back on the training ground. Well, some good work there by Kevin Miller. And as near as Arsenal have got to scoring a goal this afternoon.
It's a positive run at them there. Bergkamp picks it up, fiddles it in. I've got a feeling, in my book, I thought Anelka might have been offside on that one. Certainly the referee wasn't going to give it.
There's Overmars now to Pettit. Swept to the far side. Lee Dixon making his run, but Dean Gordon gets there first. Good control. Now what can he do? Well, he can't do anything because the flag is up on the far side. The ball had just gone out of play.
I still believe Dean Gordon represents as big a threat as they've got if he can drive himself into that space a lot more. I mean, you mentioned the shot, and he's certainly got enough to drive at that flank.
Ooh, what's he done now? Mistake by Edworthy. Anelka twisting and turning, and in the end, Palace get it away. But there should be a warning for Mr. Edworthy, I think.
Well, he took his life into his hands just after half-time. He's done it again. You know, as the last man, you can't dwell on the ball.
Dixon's throw for Arsenal. Parlour hasn't quite been so dominant in this game, Ray Parlour, but look at this. Oh, there was another chance there, and in the end it's gone wide.
You would have bet your life, wouldn't you, when Parlour drove to about 3 yards from the near post. Look at that, positive run, sleeping in defence. He's almost connected with Bergkamp. I must admit, the next touch I thought would go flying into the back of the net. From here, the goalkeeper must have thought this was going to be a goal.
But it was Andy Roberts who got the important touch away for Palace. Anelka, whose shot went wide. Raimondi gets it back here to Manninga. Ball chasing, but it'll be a goal kick.
This is a message for Steve Jenkinson. Steve Jenkinson.
Steve Coppell was saying to me earlier in the week that without the oppressive pressure of the league, and they are in such trouble near the bottom, it's a chance to be more carefree. He said that's if you can be carefree against Arsenal at Highbury. What they've done is they've come, as Glenn and Barry were saying, and Ron too, they've come with a plan and they've stuck to it with great discipline here. Three off the bottom of the Premiership, and with Spurs getting that point against Leicester yesterday, I think the gap's opened up to 4 points. Times are tough in the Premiership for Palace, and they could be tough here at Highbury now.
This is the best spell Arsenal have had, actually. They're attacking with a lot more fierceness, if you like. They're prepared to run the ball at defenders now.
Bowled up from the back. Hughes in there. Anelka over Mars. Parler. But it's Bergkamp on the ball. The little chip coming in. And again, Palace were equal to it and got it away. Over Mars. Knocked in again. Once more, it's a Palace foot that got there, and the number 14, Simon Roger, who got it away. But still Arsenal. Good spell, as Ron was saying. Roberts.
See, they can't get it more than 10 yards away from their own penalty box. The ball was laid up the field to Dyer. Palace looking for a respite. Dixon boxed him in again. And Arsenal pressing.
Here's Dixon. Driven across the face of the Palace goal. A goal kick.
They're going to do well to survive this little spell now. I think Arsenal playing with a lot more drive. First half they were probably patient. Now it looks as if they're sort of trying, as the saying goes, to go for the throat a bit.
Anelka chasing. Edworthy. And Miller gets it away. Not the best of clearances, but Roger was there. Here's Winterburn.
Yeah, I think Palace have got to, even with goal kicks, they've got to get the ball in the other half of the field. Arsenal have got so many men in the attacking half of the field, and they can press quickly.
Here's Winterburn. Bergkamp poised on the edge of the box. Ball played inside there for Hughes, but what a very good challenge that time from Jamie Smith. Corner for Arsenal. Raimondi and Bold birth forward. Big men in the Palace defence have a big job to do here. Bergkamp's corner. Parler couldn't really control it. Just Dyer up the front now. Dixon. And now Brully. Winterburn to Overmars. To Bergkamp. Arsenal storming forward again. Free kick. Conceded there by Fullerton. Bergkamp's free kick. Again, a big problem here for Palace. Floated into the far side. Ismail got a very, very good header there. Winterburn knocking it wide again. Once again, it's Bergkamp. The men who've gone forward have stayed forward for Arsenal. Now can Bergkamp find somebody? Well, he found the referee, which wasn't what was intended. And Edworthy can bring it away, and a break could be on for Palace now. It's Brolin on the far side. Dyer's up as well, and Edworthy's continued his run, and he's offside. Furious with himself, but he probably doesn't realise at that moment that the flag was up. But that was a terrific break by Palace that was full of possibilities, and this young defender, Mark Edworthy, was the one who really led the charge there.
Yeah, he's got the ball forward quickly by running it himself, and I think that's Palace to have any purpose. I mean, he's run well offside. Experienced line, they've held the line, the Arsenal lads, and a defender running into attacking positions. But that's why I feel Palace can't afford to get bogged down just outside their own penalty area, because Arsenal will press them there. I think if you get the ball through Arsenal's midfield quicker, I think there's fair chances that Palace can build up positive attacks.
Here's Bold. Trying to get it inside. Andy Roberts to Hughes. No, he hasn't given it. He hasn't given it. Well, whether that's You sometimes suspect maybe it's balancing up what maybe he felt he should have given in the first half. But how can that not be a penalty?
Well, all he can say is it's even Steven.
That's right.
Because that is equally as much a penalty as the one the other end.
Over Mars. Now Hughes. Crossed in, and a good one, and a good catch by Kevin Miller.
Definitely, Brian, any complaints that Palace have had first half have been more than evened up.
There's the controversial figure at the centre of it all, Martin Burdenham, referee from Sussex. Here's Dixon. It stays 0-0. Just past the hour mark. Ryderson. Fullerton. Brolin. Dean Gordon's on the far side. A flag's gone up from offside. But at least in making that sort of move, they've given the defence a little bit of respite.
I mean, to be fair to Palace, they're in that situation where it's stick or bust. They don't know whether to stay back and hang on to what they've protected for so long, knowing that one goal will probably put them out, or whether just to break forward. It is a cleft stick sort of thing.
What would you do?
I'm not Stevie Copp. I just sit there and panic. No, if they can play the way they're doing now and sit in there, providing they're prepared to try and get the ball forward a little bit quicker. I'd certainly go along with what was said at half-time. I think Brolin is nothing more than a passenger.
That's right.
You know, it's hard for him. He's just come over. Obviously, his fitness level is well down on the rest of the players on the field. If he hasn't got, if he hasn't got a striker he trusts, maybe sort of a suggestion like Emblem or even throw a big defender on up front.
Yes, Hughes for Arsenal. It's a deep across this time. Too far, too high for Bergkamp. And there's Brolin chasing.
Yeah, he's playing from memory there, though, isn't he? I mean, he's just going because that's what his buddy tells him to do, but it's not taking him there. And I never remember Brolin as a lone striker anyway. He was always somebody that would either play to the side or just behind strikers.
Helping Sweden to third place in the '94 World Cup, for example. Ryderson.
Well, bring a defender on and put him up front. Ryderson, because he looks as if he could run the whole of their back four.
Ray Parler. Bergkamp. To Petty. Winterburn's made a move in there. Now what's going to happen here? Keeper's going to have a fist at this one.
Oh, I thought that was a foul. I thought Anelka definitely tried to obstruct the keeper on that one.
Teat again, Bold, Grimandi. Palace have pulled everybody back, having everybody push back for that matter.
Yeah, they're turning on the heat now, Arsenal.
Dixon. Foul by Parler on Roger. Free kick to Crystal Palace. Palace desperate, of course, to get their two Italians, Lombardo and Padovano, back. They're going to be a couple of weeks yet, apparently. Talking to Lombardo at the tail end of the week, he says how desperately he wants to get back. He really feels that he can't pull his weight. He's got a great deal of feeling for Crystal Palace. Wants to get back in the action to help them. Also thinks, incidentally, that Vial is going to make a very good manager. He's a former teammate of his. There's Gordon. Goes the long striding Ryderson again, up to Brolin. And a free kick? No, not given.
And Ryderson's stranded well upfield.
Well upfield, here's Hughes. Oh, and over Mars, and the keeper's done very well indeed. He was off his line like a flash, was Kevin Miller. And more than that, it's a very good throw out to Bruce Dyer. He's only got Berlin up with him. And they may not just have the pace really to worry Arsenal in these situations. Bold takes some beating. That's one blow. Roger ducking in with a header. Fullerton playing it for Dean Gordon. Ryderson. Bold, we think, has taken a little knock on that encounter with Bruce Dyer.
Seems to be holding his arm or his hand,
wrist.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's an offside against Anelka. Oh, this was
through ball. The
through
keeper
ball.
has done excellent because
really
Overmars, as we know, can travel.
And this is the injury to Bold, the tussle with Bruce Dyer there.
This is when he goes for a submission, isn't it?
Yeah. It's his right hand. 37,164, the crowd here at Highbury today. And Bold is going off for some treatment. So with Tony Adams suspended and Martin Keown also out. Larson Wenger do. 10 men at the moment. Overmars, little touch. Banged away by Ishmael. Dean Gordon, that faithful left foot of his, but Winterburn puts it back to Manninger. Just get the feeling this is leading up to a very tense last quarter of an hour, 20 minutes. Strapping Steve Bold up to get him back onto the field. Overmars, Parler. Palace swarming around them, giving them no time, working feverishly, at least to look to get to a replay. As Winterburn puts it back to Manninger, and Manninger puts it straight back into touch.
It looks very much as if Bold's going. I think he's getting. I think their physio's just signaled can't go on any further.
Roberts. Roger.
How would you see the alternatives? Would Petit stay at the back alongside Grimaldi?
That's
and
where he's
Vieira
gone at the
come in?
moment. And Vieira probably coming on, I would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they've got Gardy, of course, who's the defender. He could maybe come on and juggle about with the back four, but I would think that probably looks the most likely one. Bring Vieira on.
David Platt, another possibility to come onto the midfield, I would think. No, it's going to be Vieira.
I mean, he's big enough, the boy's big enough to play central defender anyway.
The ball hit long towards Bergkamp. Kevin Miller nicely in command again.
Petit looks very comfortable there alongside Grimaldi.
Jamie Fullerton. That's a good left foot. And Winterburn hustled by Dyer. And Palace get a throw. Yes, Vieira's coming on in place of Steve Bold. Getting a terrific reception from the Arsenal faithful. So Jamie Smith with the throw. Dyer trying to force his way through. Vieira's first touch is a successful one, and his pass to release Parler is an exceptional one.
Anelka's in the middle.
And once again, Palace get it away up to Thomas Brolin. And Dyer hadn't come back quickly enough and is caught offside.
That would have been some sort of a start, wouldn't it, from Vieira? Quickly into the action. Brilliant ball out to Parler and a good ball in. Only just failed to connect with the centre. He's going to play his natural central position, and Petit is going to join Grimaldi as the two central defenders.
Dean Gordon. And back it goes from Winterburn. Arsenal getting another sub ready. David Platt is coming on. Do we know who's going off yet? We think it's Hughes.
I was going to say, if it's tactical, it's probably more than likely to be Stephen Hughes.
Dyer. Hat-trick against Leicester, but hasn't really shown that sort of form so far today. Brolin chasing for this one, hoping to get the better of Petit. And in the end, Grimondi decided he better take command and then plays it back to Alex Manninger. Edworthy beaten in the air, and Elka takes it up. This could be the moment. Again, well within reach of Kevin Miller, but his body beautifully behind it again.
A lovely turn of pace by Anelka. I just have a suspicion that on his left side he's nowhere near as effective as he is coming back in on his right foot. Just heard that they think that Steve Bold may have broken a thumb. He's going for an X-ray now. Hughes now for Arsenal, being hustled there by Fullerton and by Roger, and then he comes up against Ishmael, the Frenchman playing only his 4th game for Crystal Palace. He's done well this afternoon, finds his skipper Andy Roberts, gets the ball back from Overmars. It's been a terrific battling performance by Palace, and you have to say, if this is the sort of spirit they can show for the rest of the Premiership season, may not be all up with them, but here's Bergkamp. It might be up with them here, though. Still with Dennis Bergkamp. Knocked back again. And Ryderson perfectly placed to make the interception and get it away from Palace. Up towards Dyer. Dyer shaking off Winterburn. Now he's got Hughes to contend with. Plays it inside for Ryderson again. Brolin says, Ryderson, get after that one, but it's too close to Manninger. Yeah, they'll be disappointed. That's when you do expect your quality players to produce some quality. And that was a very heavy pass from Brolin. Great work from Dyer and Haridason. But at the other end, you know, the break of Bergkamp's. You see, he grew an extra yard in the penalty box. Ishmael getting it away up towards Brolin, beaten by Petit though. Good touch there by Roger. He's good on the left foot. Found Gordon. Gordon then banging straight into Dixon. And Anelka picks up the loose one. Still 0-0. And they're still harbouring hopes of a replay at Selhurst Park. Still a lot of work to be done. Handball there by Jamie Fullerton. I'll tell you what, Brian, the people that are already through, the teams that are already through, are hoping that Palace do more than get a replay, won't they? They will. Well, the substitution being made now. Young Stephen Hughes goes off. No lack of experience now as David Platt comes on. Vieira plays it wide. It's with Winterburn. Now with Overmars. Overmars being watched by Smith. Roberts also in close attendance. Overmars wanting to get the ball back to Winterburn, succeeds in doing so. Gets it onto his right foot, not his best one by a long way, and well wide of Kevin Miller's goal. Well, Palace know that if they can hold this for another quarter of an hour or so, they get a lucrative replay at Selhurst Park. Which I guess would have been beyond the dreams of their realistic supporters at any rate, because Arsenal were such strong favourites here this afternoon. I say there's a lot of work still to be done. But a good performance of stickability here by Palace this afternoon. A lot of guts and character about it. Edworthy, Roberts, Ishmael, Roberts again.
bringing Smith into it now. Dyer and Brolin are up. A rare Palace sortie into the Arsenal half. And Smith has gone past Winterburn. And the cross is there. Can Brolin get on the end of it? No, he can't. But Dean Gordon now.
And that's his forte, you know, Jamie Smith, attacking, coming along the flank. And I think that's the first time all match he's gone into the other half of the field with the ball.
Now Parlour on the break. Finding Bergkamp. Arsenal fans saying, surely we can find a goal here somewhere. David Platt now. And he's found Overmars. And Elka's in the middle there. Dennis Bergkamp. But there were 3 Palace defenders there. And there was just no way through. Dyer, a good turn. Can he get there before Pettit? No, he can't. Hits Andy Roberts. Pettit again. And now Vieira. And now Platt. Parlour waiting for Dixon to come up and then lobs it to the other side. And a little bit of frustration now amongst the Arsenal players. Certainly amongst their fans. As you can see, just about a quarter of an hour left. I suppose, really, although we expected Arsenal to win this one, there was always the thought that Arsenal, that Palace's away record this season has been so good. Here's Dyer. And now Smith. He's got some support from behind for his captain, but didn't see him.
Yeah, he started to take the ball by the horns and try to make Overmars defend now.
Andy Roberts. Dyer to Roberts. He's chipped one in there, but it's a little too wide. But wait a moment, Dean Gordon's there on the far side. Now he can put a good cross in. Simon Rodram has got on the end of that one. Gordon again, he's got a good left foot. He's hit a good long cross. Meninga's only half got it away. Dyer had his shot charged down. Now Ismail. And Elka comes in. And now the break is on at the other end, led by Overmars. But again, they defend well. With a lot of spirit again, Palace. Good work there by Jamie Smith, more than anybody else. Brolin to Roberts. And an offside against Bruce Dyer. He bangs the ball away after the whistle had gone. It's going to get a yellow card. This was the earlier moment. Meninga banged it away. Dyer had his shot charged down by Winterburn, I think it was.
That was a brilliant block, that.
Needed to be.
But all of a sudden, you know, Palace, I think Palace are in that position now. We can win it, and that may be their downfall. They may just overstretch themselves, whereas they've been conditioned to just sitting back there, letting Arsenal come onto them. If the game gets stretched, you could see maybe Arsenal hitting them with a counter-attack.
Yes. Here's Anelka. Backing off him. And then Edworthy came and closed him right down. Parlour's header. Oh, Platt was almost in there. The typical David Platt run from deep. But there was already an offside. "12 minutes left. Gordon planting it forward towards Brolin. Vieira knocks it forward. Foul by Hreidarsson on Bergkamp. Comes to Platt. Platt to Overmars. Jamie Smith didn't know quite whether to come or not. Oh! Just wide of the far post.
That's what you like to see in wing play. Takes him on the outside, flashes it across.
I guess it's one of those days where you think, is it going to be one of those days? If you're an Arsenal player or fan now.
Certainly get the feeling there's a goal due.
Yeah.
Can't imagine this will finish goalless, although the clock's ticking down.
Bergkamp. With good defending, and they get a free kick as well, Palace. Gets there, but the ball's gone out of play. It's been such a good all-round gutsy team performance by Palace that I don't envy you the job of naming man of the match, Governor.
Been a load of efficient performances, haven't there?
They have. Palace get it away. Grimaldi up to Bergkamp. It's Vieira. And now Winterburn to Platt. Cross is a deep one there. Once again, Palace were equal to it. A little sure it wasn't Edworthy's head that got the header in that time. But here's some more work to be done as Dixon hits a much longer one in, too long, in fact, goal kick. And we think it's Anelka coming off and Christopher Ray coming on. His header. Ray gets the first touch, and he sent Bergkamp on his way. And it's a goal kick. Bergkamp felt that his shirt was being pulled and the life wasn't being made easy for him.
Well, he's not entitled to have life made easy for him. That's a good ball out there with Ray's first touch. At this stage, I thought he was going to accelerate past Edworthy as he did earlier, but Edworthy's done well. Stayed on his feet, ran him out of play, and rattled the ice-cool Dutchman.
A little over 7 minutes left now. Mondi again. Certainly, if it were to come to a replay in 10 days' time, it might just be that the two Italians in the Palace makeup, but certainly Lombardo, I would have thought, might be fit. Padovano, perhaps not. Can be sure Ian Wright will be fit for that one, and Tony Adams would be out of suspension for that one as well. Ball out of play. Roger for Palace. Fullerton banging it forward. Dyer trying to get to it but can't. Goal kick to Arsenal. Coming up to 6 minutes. Don't forget the sixth-round draw comes up later on ITV around about 4 o'clock. Roger, trusty left foot, getting it away. These are worrying moments for Steve Coppell. So near, and it may be yet so far. But here's Dean Gordon. He's hit it long. Dyer, not for the first time, maybe not even for the 10th time. Offside for Palace. Overmars. Played into Vieira, but Edworthy is there. Good timing. Always thought that about Palace over the last 25 years or so. If you were a season ticket holder, you probably get better value than almost any other club, I think, because they've never been in the middle of the table. They've always been either chasing promotion or fighting against relegation or putting in gutsy cup runs as well, and that's exactly what they're doing again this year. Always had a very soft spot for the way they've gone about their business. Winterburn knocking it back. Petit making a break himself. Here's Winterburn. Bergkamp back to Overmars. And now to Vieira. Long-range shot possibly. No, he played it wide for Dixon instead. Gordon's going to try and snuff him out down on that corner flag, but only at the expense of a corner. Inside the last 5 minutes. So more big defending to be done here for Palace. It'll be tough for them if they concede anything now because they defended so well, but this is another crucial moment as Bergkamp floats the free kick in. Could almost have been a handball there by Vieira, it seemed to me. Parlour twisting and turning and Roger making it difficult for him. But here's Bergkamp again. It's not over yet. The cross coming in is a good deep one. And the flag is up on the far side in any case for an offside. And a free kick to Crystal Palace. Steve Kember, great old former captain of Palace. He was manager there for a little while as well, now on the coaching staff. Berlin. Roberts. Oh, the break could be on here. Could be on for Dyer. Fullerton's in there too. Berlin's come up fast. It needs a good cross played in, and Grimaldi did well to get it away. David Platt playing it now for Petit. And a free kick for the foul by Bergkamp on Hreiderson. A free kick to Palace. In no hurry to take it. Clock ticks on, a little over 2 minutes left.
They've been having their own little private cod war between them, those. Hreiderson earlier, I don't think Bergkamp's too happy with some of the attention that Hreiderson's paid to him. Albeit legitimate, I might add.
There's the pass. No, it's Whistle's gone. So, your man of the match, Ron?
Well, it had to go to an efficient player. I think for Arsenal, Grimaldi's been superb, but nobody has epitomised Crystal Palace's efforts more than that lad tonight, Hreiderson. Hasn't been a classic game, hasn't been a classic performance, but he's blood and guts, stickability and spirit. You must have heard it because he's not half emerging now.
Well, terrific lung power. There he is again. No handball. Oh, look at that.
He has heard who he's man of the match. Ray. Long-range shot, maybe. Bergkamp. The crucial moment, maybe. Once again, Edworthy bangs it away for Palace. And here come Arsenal again. Inside the last minute. Sorry, Ron. And again, it's banged away by the man of the match, Hreiderson. Bruce Dyer chasing it, but it's Winterburn who gets it to Petit.
Hridison chasing this one, but the keeper, good safe catch. He's done well as well, you know. Kevin Miller's done well.
He's been very competent. He's kicked the ball exceptionally well, and he's been quick off his right, but he hasn't really had to make any saves, has he, for all the pressure?
And Palace, that old 20-5 ball right down in the other corner. Well, it's the last 15 seconds or so. It'll be heartbreaking for Steve Coppell and the Palace fans if Arsenal do something now, but here comes Petit again. It's still 0-0 at the fag end of this 5th round FA Cup tie. It's with Overmars. 2 watching him, look at that. But that leaves Ray free. Played inside now for Vieira. And now for Dixon. A long-range shot maybe. He's driven it just over. Playing time added on now.
Yeah, they keep another square ball across Dixon, and we all know how he can gun them, and that's a very good effort, but the keeper's quite confident there. I may have done Miller a disservice. I've just thought when you talk about saves, the recovery save he made from Steve Ball was an excellent piece of goalkeeping.
Miller with a goal kick. Referee looking at the watch. Palace may yet have a little more defending to do. So might Arsenal for that matter, but it's Dixon getting it clear. Here's Ray. Down the line it goes, but he's hit it too far, and Hridison, the man of the match, happy to let Dunn go into touch to take up a few more seconds. Dean Gordon with the throw. Promise of a huge night at Selhurst Park. Oh, but that's a ball played out to Overmars. That wasn't very clever. And suddenly it's Winterburn. And suddenly it could be on here. He's knocked it in there, but now will that go for the corner? No, it's a throw. As you can see, 1.5 minutes into stoppage time. Overmars floated in again towards Bergkamp. No penalty, said the referee. Look of disappointment on Bergkamp's face.
Yeah, not even a semblance of a penalty. No. That's definitely a little bit of gamesmanship there. Rolls into the defender, rolls round the defender, makes it look as if the defender's having a tug on him.
Miller taking his time. And his clearance is a long one. Up towards Thomas Brolin. And 2 minutes added on. One last stab maybe for Arsenal. It's with Chris Ray. He's hit it long, but not accurately enough, and Palace will be quite happy to let that go over for the goal kick. Well, it says everything for Palace's dogged rearguard action. Their discipline and their strong defence from the first minute to the very last. There goes the final whistle, and Palace have earned a replay with a really gutsy performance here at Highbury today. They might have had a penalty in the first half. Arsenal might have had one in the second. In the end, it finishes without a goal. Crystal Palace 0.